Hello, we're excited to show you our native speech capabilities. Welcome back to the English journey. Today, we are talking about the most expensive thing you will ever spend, your time. I'm Anna.
And I'm Abel. Many of us feel like we're just waiting for our lives to start, but today we want to show you that your life is happening right now, and it is time to stop wasting it.
That is such an important point, Abel. And I want to start with a question for everyone listening. Think about yesterday. What did you do? Can you remember most of it clearly? Or does it feel like the day just disappeared?
Honestly, Anna, I remember days like that all the time. I would wake up, check my phone, eat breakfast, go to work, come home, watch videos, go to sleep, and then repeat every single day. It felt like I was living the same day over and over again.
That feeling has a name. We call it living on autopilot. Autopilot is a word we use when a plane flies itself without a human controlling it. But when we say a person is on autopilot, we mean they are going through life without thinking, without choosing, without deciding what they really want.
Yes, exactly. And autopilot is very comfortable at first. You do not have to think too hard. You do not have to make difficult choices. You just follow the same pattern every day. Wake up, eat, work, sleep, repeat. It feels easy.
But here's the problem. Life is not a dress rehearsal. This is an expression in English that means there is no practice run. In the theater, actors have a dress rehearsal before the real show. They practice everything. But life does not give you a practice run. Every single day is the real show. Every moment is real. You cannot rewind. You cannot press play again.
That thought changed my life when I first heard it. I was maybe 23 years old, and a friend said to me, "Abel, you only get one life. This is not practice." And I remember sitting very quietly for a long time after that, because I realized I was spending my one and only life on things that did not matter to me at all.
And that is the first big idea for today. Your life is not waiting for you somewhere in the future. It is not starting when you get a better job, or when you lose weight, or when you finish school. Your life is happening right now, right in this moment. While you are listening to us, this is your life.
So let us talk about the autopilot trap. Anna, can you explain what the autopilot trap really is? Because I think a lot of our listeners will recognize themselves in this.
Of course, the autopilot trap is when we stop making conscious choices about how we live. Conscious means aware, awake, thinking carefully. When we are on autopilot, we aren't really choosing, we're just reacting. We wake up and immediately reach for our phone before we even say good morning to ourselves. We eat because it's lunchtime, not because we are hungry. We watch television because it's evening, not because we really want to watch. We do these things because they're habits, and habits are powerful. Habits are like a river. The water always follows the same path because it's easier than making a new path.
I love that image, Anna. The river always following the same path. And I was definitely a river going in the wrong direction for a long time. My biggest autopilot habit was social media. I would open my phone and just scroll, 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 one video after another, one post after another.
Tell us about that, Abel, because I know many of our listeners do the same thing. What was it really like?
Okay, so imagine this. You sit down for 5 minutes. You just want to check one thing. Maybe you want to see if a friend sent you a message. So you open your phone, you check the message, but then right there on the screen, there's a video. It looks interesting, so you watch it. It's only 1 minute long. Then another video starts automatically. You watch that one too. Then you see a post from someone you know. You read it, you look at the comments, you start reading other people's comments, you laugh a little. Then another video, then a photo, then an article, and then you look up from your phone and you realize 2 hours have passed. 2 hours gone.
And this is not something to be embarrassed about. Our brains are actually not fully responsible for this. The applications, the apps on our phones, are designed by very smart people whose only job is to keep you scrolling. They use something called a reward loop. Every time you scroll, your brain gets a small feeling of pleasure. Maybe a funny video, maybe a nice photo, maybe a message from a friend. Your brain loves that small feeling, so it wants more and more and more.
It's like a slot machine in a casino. You keep pulling the handle because maybe this time you'll get something good. And sometimes you do get something funny or interesting. But mostly you get nothing important, and you lose hours of your life that you can never get back.
The word we use for this kind of time loss is distraction. A distraction is anything that pulls your attention away from something important, and the phone is perhaps the greatest distraction machine ever invented. It's in your pocket, it's always there, and it's always offering you something that feels important, but usually is not.
So, what did you do, Abel? How did you stop? I know our listeners want to know. Well, first I did something very simple. I did a time audit. An audit is when you check something carefully and count everything. I spent 1 week writing down how I used my time. Just honest writing. I woke up and wrote down what I did, every hour. And at the end of the week, I looked at my list and honestly, I was a little shocked. A little ashamed, actually. I was spending nearly 4 hours a day on my phone. 4 hours! That's 28 hours every single week, lost to my phone.
And this is not unusual. Research shows that the average person spends between 3 and 5 hours every day on their phone. Some people spend even more. When you think about it, over a whole year, that's between 1,000 and 2,000 hours. 1,000 hours. Imagine what you could learn in 1,000 hours. You could become conversational in a new language. You could write a book. You could start a small business. You could become an expert in almost any skill you choose.
And that's when I started thinking about what we call the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is a useful phrase from economics, but it works for life too. It means that every time you choose one thing, you're automatically giving up something else. So every hour I spent scrolling was an hour I did not spend learning, an hour I did not spend exercising, an hour I did not spend talking to the people I love. Every choice has a cost, and for a long time, I was paying that cost without even knowing it.
So here's a challenge for our listeners. Tonight or this week, do your own time audit. Be honest. Write down how you spend your time for just 2 or 3 days. Not to feel bad about yourself. We're not trying to make you feel guilty. We're trying to help you see clearly, because you can't change something you can't see.
Exactly. Once I could see it, I could change it. And I started very small. I did not delete all my social media on day one. I did not throw my phone in the ocean. I just made one small rule. No phone for the first 30 minutes after I wake up. That's all. Just 30 minutes.
And those 30 minutes became very powerful, didn't they?
So powerful, because the morning is when your mind is fresh, before the noise of the world enters your head, before notifications and news and other people's opinions fill your brain. Those 30 minutes were mine, just mine. I started using them to read, or to think quietly, or to plan my day. And slowly, my days started to feel different, more intentional. Intentional is a great word. It means doing things on purpose, with a clear reason, not just by accident.
And this brings us to perhaps the most important idea in our conversation today, finding your why. Your why is your purpose. It's the reason you get out of bed in the morning. It's the answer to the question, why does this matter to me? When you have a strong why, it becomes very hard to waste time because you know what your time is for.
Can you give an example of a why, Anna?
Absolutely. Let's say someone's why is their family. They're working hard so their children can have a better life. When that person thinks about spending 3 hours scrolling through their phone, they also think, is this helping my children have a better life? And the answer is clearly no. So their why makes the choice easier.
Or think about someone who is learning English. Their why might be, I want to get a better job, or I want to travel the world and talk to people from different countries, or I want to understand movies and songs in English without subtitles. When you have that reason, every time you sit down to study, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like progress. It feels like you're moving towards something real.
That is a beautiful point, Abel. And purpose is the opposite of regret. Regret is one of the saddest words in the English language. Regret means the pain you feel when you look back at something you did or did not do and you wish you had chosen differently. Many people, when they are old, do not regret the things they did. They regret the things they never tried, the language they never learned, the trip they never took, the book they never wrote, the conversation they were too afraid to have.
I do not want to live a life full of regret. That is honestly one of my biggest motivations now. When I am 80 years old, sitting in a rocking chair, I want to look back and say, I used my time well. I lived my life. I did not just scroll through other people's lives and forget to live my own.
That image is very powerful, Abel, and it connects to something important. There's a difference between being alive and actually living. Being alive is just breathing. Your heart beats, you eat, you sleep. But living means choosing. It means creating. It means connecting with other people. It means growing. It means feeling something real.
So let us talk now about something that sounds very simple, but is actually quite difficult. The power of saying no. The word no is very short, only 2 letters, but many of us find it very hard to say.
Why do you think that is, Abel?
I think we are afraid of disappointing people. We're afraid they will not like us if we say no. We want to be helpful. We want to be liked. So we say yes to everything. Yes to that extra work project. Yes to that party we don't really want to attend. Yes to that phone call that goes on for 2 hours about nothing important. Yes to every request, every distraction, every interruption.
And the result is that we say no to our own dreams. When you say yes to everything, you have no energy, no time, no space left for what truly matters to you. Saying no to unimportant things is actually saying yes to your own life. Think about that. Every no is secretly a yes to something more important.
I remember the first time I said no to something that used to feel automatic. A friend invited me to spend the whole Saturday watching sports together, and in the past, I would have said yes automatically, on autopilot without thinking. But this time I stopped and I thought, I have a goal this month. I want to finish reading that book. I want to practice my English for 2 hours. So I said, I can't this Saturday, but let's plan something next weekend. And my friend was completely fine with it.
Because here's the truth. People respect someone who knows their own value and their own time. And when you start treating your time as something precious, something valuable, the people around you will also start to treat your time with more respect.
And this connects beautifully to why learning English is the absolute opposite of wasting your life. Anna, can you talk about this? Because I think it is very important for our listeners to hear.
With great pleasure. When you learn a new language, you are doing something extraordinary. You're not just memorizing words and grammar rules, you're literally expanding your world. Imagine the world as a room. If you only speak one language, you live in a small room. You can only talk to the people in that room. You can only read the books in that room. You can only watch the movies made for that room.
But when you learn English,
When you learn English, you open a giant door, and suddenly you have access to a much, much larger world. English is spoken by approximately 1.5 billion people around the world. It's the language of international business, science, medicine, technology, art, music, and cinema. When you speak English, you can have a conversation with someone in Japan or Brazil or Sweden or Nigeria. You can read any book written in English. You can watch any film. You can apply for jobs in any country. You can understand what is happening in the world.
every hour you spend learning English is an investment. An investment is when you put something in now so that you get something bigger and better later. If you put money in a bank account, it grows over time. If you put time into learning English, your opportunities, your choices, and your freedom grow over time.
And nobody can ever take that away from you. If you lose your job, you can find another one. If you lose your money, you can earn more. But the knowledge inside your mind, the language you have learned, the skills you have built, nobody can remove those from you. They are yours forever.
That is deeply motivating, Anna. And I think about our listeners who are learning English right now by listening to this podcast. They are doing the opposite of wasting time. They are using their time to grow, to expand, to become a bigger version of themselves.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this slowly, replaying sentences, looking up words, making notes, then you are being extremely intentional with your time. That's something to feel proud of. Don't let anyone tell you that studying is boring or that language learning is a waste of time. It's one of the best investments a human being can make.
Okay, so we have talked about autopilot, we've talked about screen addiction, we have talked about finding your why, the power of no, and why learning English is an investment. Now I want to talk about something that really changed the way I think about improvement. It's called the 1% rule.
Oh, I love this idea. Please explain it, Abel.
Okay, the 1% rule says this. You do not need to completely change your life today. You do not need to become a totally different person overnight. That kind of thinking is actually one reason why people fail at their goals. They try to change everything at once, and it is too hard, and they give up.
This is called an all or nothing mentality. Either I do everything perfectly or I do nothing at all. And this way of thinking is the enemy of progress.
Exactly. But the 1% rule says something different. It says, just be 1% better today than you were yesterday. 1% better. That is tiny, almost nothing. If you practiced English for 0 minutes yesterday, 1% better means practicing for just a few minutes today. If you slept badly, 1% better means going to bed 10 minutes earlier tonight. If you ate unhealthily, 1% better means adding one vegetable to one meal.
And the mathematics of 1% is absolutely extraordinary. There is a calculation that shows this very clearly. If you get 1% better every single day for one full year, by the end of the year, you are not 1% better. You are 37 times better. 37 times, because small improvements repeated every day multiply on top of each other. We call this compounding. It is the same reason why a small amount of money in a bank account grows into a large amount over many years.
But the opposite is also true, and it is quite frightening. If you get 1% worse every day, if you go slightly backward every day, by the end of the year, you are left with almost nothing. You have almost completely lost the progress you once had. Small negative choices, repeated every day, also multiply.
So every day you have a choice, 1% forward or 1% backward, and that choice might seem unimportant in a single day, one day of practicing English or skipping it. It does not seem to matter much, but over 1 year, over 5 years, over 10 years, those small daily choices create completely different lives.
I want to ask something, Anna. For someone listening right now who feels like they have already wasted too much time, who feels like they started too late, what would you say to them?
I would say this. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. It does not matter how much time has passed. It does not matter how many years you feel you may have lost to distraction or to living on autopilot. Right now, in this moment, you can choose differently. The people who make the greatest changes in their lives are not always the youngest people. They are the most determined people.
And I would add something to that. When I look at the years I spent on autopilot, I try not to feel regret, because regret keeps you in the past, and the past is the one place you can never actually go back to. Instead, I feel gratitude. I feel grateful that I woke up, that I became aware. Many people never do. Many people live their whole lives without ever asking the question, am I really living the life I want to live? The fact that you are asking that question right now, today, means you have already taken the first step.
And awareness is the beginning of everything. You cannot change what you cannot see, but once you see it, once you truly see it, you cannot unsee it. You cannot go back to pure autopilot once you have tasted what intentional living feels like.
Because intentional living feels so much richer, so much more real. Can you describe what intentional living looks like in everyday life for someone who is maybe just starting?
Of course, it looks like waking up and taking 3 slow breaths before you reach for your phone. It looks like asking yourself each morning, what is the one most important thing I want to do today? It looks like eating your lunch without looking at a screen, actually tasting your food, noticing the world around you. It looks like having a real conversation with someone you love without your phone on the table. It looks like spending 30 minutes learning something that excites you, whether that's English or cooking or music or anything that makes you feel alive.
It does not have to be dramatic. It does not have to be a big life transformation that you announce to everyone. It can be quiet, private, personal, small things done with full attention and full intention.
There's a beautiful concept in many world philosophies about living with eyes wide open. This does not mean just your physical eyes, it means your mental eyes, your awareness, your consciousness. It means noticing your life as it is happening, noticing the people around you, noticing what you feel, noticing what you want, noticing what you love. Most of us walk through our days with our mental eyes half closed. We are thinking about yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. We miss the actual day that is right in front of us.
I read something once that stopped me in my tracks. It said that the average human life is approximately 4,000 weeks long. 4,000 weeks. That's it. That number sounds quite large at first, but when you think about it carefully, when you imagine 4,000 individual weeks laid out in front of you, it becomes very clear that time is precious. Time is the only resource you truly have. You can earn more money, you can make new friends, you can find new opportunities, but you cannot make more time.
And this is not said to frighten you or to make you feel anxious. We do not want anyone to feel panicked about time passing. This awareness, this understanding, is actually a gift. When you truly understand that time is precious, every ordinary day becomes more meaningful. A Tuesday morning becomes something worth noticing. A quiet cup of tea becomes something to appreciate. A conversation with a friend becomes something to be fully present for.
Your potential is enormous. That word, potential, means the possibility that exists inside you, the things you could achieve, the person you could become, the life you could build, if you use your time with intention and purpose. Every single person listening to this podcast has potential.
It does not matter where you were born. It does not matter how much money you have. It does not matter what mistakes you have made in the past. Your potential is real, and it is waiting for you to reach for it.
And every language you learn is a key that unlocks more of that potential. Every word of English you add to your vocabulary is one more tool in your hands, one more door you can open, one more conversation you can have, one more book you can read, one more dream you can make possible. So here's what we would like to leave with you today. Stop waiting for your life to feel ready. Stop waiting for Monday or the new year or a perfect moment that feels exactly right. Your life is not waiting for you to feel ready. It is already happening. It is happening right now, in this very second, as you listen to these words.
Choose one small thing today, just one. Maybe it is putting your phone face down for 1 hour. Maybe it is writing down your purpose, your why, in a journal. Maybe it is studying English for 20 minutes instead of 10. Maybe it is saying no to one thing that does not serve your goals. Maybe it is simply taking one walk outside and leaving your phone at home, just to remember what it feels like to be present in the world.
And tomorrow, choose one small thing again, and the day after that, and the day after that. This is not a race. It is not a competition. It is your life, and the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday.
We believe in every single person listening to us today. The fact that you have chosen to spend your time learning English, that you have chosen to listen to a podcast about living with more intention and more purpose, tells us something important about you. It tells us you care. It tells us you want more from your life. And that wanting, that caring, that quiet hunger to grow, that is the beginning of everything beautiful.
Before we finish, I want to say something to anyone who has been feeling lost lately. Anyone who feels like they have been sleepwalking through their days. Anyone who looks at their life and feels like something is missing but cannot name exactly what it is. What is missing is you, the full version of you, the awake, aware, intentional version. And you can come back to that person at any time, any day, including today.
The word legacy is one of my favorite words in the English language. Legacy means what you leave behind, not just money or objects, but the impact you had, the lives you touched, the things you created, the example you set. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember about the way you lived? Start living that way now, not someday, now.
This has been such a rich and meaningful conversation, Anna. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. And thank you to every single listener who chose to spend this time with us today.
Thank you, Abel, for being so honest and so open about your own journey. Your story will help so many people feel less alone and more hopeful. And to everyone listening, wherever you are in the world, please remember this. Your life is not a rehearsal. Every day is the real performance. Live it with your eyes wide open. Live it with intention. Live it with love. And keep learning. Keep growing. Keep moving forward, even if it is just 1% at a time.
We will be back again soon with more conversations to help you grow your English and grow your life. Until then, take care of your time, take care of your mind, and take very, very good care of yourself.
This has been The English Journey. I'm Anna.
And I'm Abel. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.